Oops.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to our channel.
Hi.
So today is going to be a relaxed, kind of chilled out video where we just kind of chat. So we thought we would talk about the modern diet and how it is basically harming us, basically how it's really bad for us, making a lot of people unwell. So we're not professionals. I've got to say this, we're not scientists, we're not nutritionists. This is basically our opinions, what we've learned, our views, and basically what we believe in. So we're just going to have a general chat about the way the modern diet is and how it, is affecting us as a nation, that being quite negatively. So, first I want to start asking you a question.
Go ahead.
So, what was your diet like as a youngster? So, when you were younger, back in the day, what was it like? What did you eat?
I ate normal food, like everyday food, but it was all freshly made. There was no processed food in my diet. It was fresh potatoes. Fresh meat, it was all farm kind of food, vegetables and meat, because my mum used to work on a farm to begin with.
Oh wow, didn't know that. So quite organic, really.
Yeah, pretty
so
much.
So straight from field onto the plate.
Yeah, more or less.
Okay.
Yeah.
And straight from.
And because I was very active as a child, I didn't exactly put weight on, and we didn't really have that many treats. Because we felt quite satisfied with the food that we was eating as well.
Yeah, because it was whole,
Yeah.
pure food, isn't it? And this is the thing with processed food. It's designed to make us eat more of it because of the way it's made. Full of chemicals, full of like all the additives and stuff like that, which gets us hooked.
Yeah, wanting more.
Yeah.
It? You like enjoy it that much that you're saying, oh God, could eat that all over again. And then the next time you might get two lots and eat the two, and then you say, oh God, I could have eaten that again.
Yeah, and this is what
it's so addictive.
It is, and that's what the food companies are doing. It's purposely, it's on purpose, them doing this, because they don't care about our health. They just don't. It's all about money. And they just basically want us to eat more and more of it. It all boils down really to money in the end.
Yeah, of course.
It's all about money making, because the more we eat this stuff and get addicted to it, the more unwell we become, and in turn, when we're unwell and ill, we then we turn to medication, I guess, because we feel popping a pill is going to solve everything. And it doesn't. It's just like a plaster, a band-aid.
It's like a vicious circle, isn't it, really?
It is.
You eat the crappy food, you get poorly, you go to the doctors, they give you a pill to pop to make you feel better, and then you start the whole circle again.
Yeah, it is a vicious circle. It certainly is. And with the money making is where the pharmacies are making their money as well. So it's all connected. Like I said, this is what we believe in. These are our views. These are our opinions. There's probably going to be a lot of people that are going to disagree with us, but in turn, we'll probably disagree with what others think as well. So, as a child myself, back in the day, because I'm going to talk about what you used to feed me and my sister, what food we were given. I would say it was a mix, because obviously back then, when I was a child, was sort of growing up through kind of the 80s and the 90s, that's when processed food really started to take off, didn't it?
Exactly, it did. and it was
become,
a novelty.
Yeah.
And everybody wanted to try it.
Yeah. Because it was... I mean, I'm not too sure when processed food came out. I think it probably was around the late 80s, kind of, when it started to really, companies started to realise that, if we sell this kind of thing, which is cheaper to make, but we can make profit of it, and make it, look appealing and exciting, then people are going to eat it, and it's going to get popular.
And convenient as well, because it's quick to do. It's prepped for you, so you just throw it in the oven or in the microwave, basically.
I just thought of microchips. Oh my god, I think you can still get them nowadays.
They were the worst ones. I thought. I barely ever bought them.
No,
they were a fad like kind of thing to begin with. Everybody went for them. Microwave chips. Again,
it was that whole thing of it being quickness, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was, and back then microchips was like, oh my god, like, the most amazing thing ever. You can have chips in a matter of a couple of minutes, popping them in the microwave and they're done, and you've got some chips. They were all right. I mean, I quite liked them, but they never really came out kind of crispy, because they just kind of wouldn't from the microwave.
Not from the microwave.
I think it was the taste of them that I quite liked. And again, it's that whole, the taste. These companies making things, just taste really, really good. And what happens is when you eat this food, it triggers something in your brain. It activates something in your brain that makes you kind of want more of it, and it makes it really, really pleasurable.
Yeah.
So anyway, going back to what you used to give me and my sister, food wise, you would basically, you would tell us what we were going to have to eat, especially dinner time. I think lunch was a bit different. I think we had a bit more kind of choice with that, didn't we? We had a bit more kind of free will with that. We could kind of almost choose what we wanted. It was generally a sandwich though, more than anything.
Yeah.
But we could kind of choose what fillings we had in it. But you did your best to feed us as healthy as possible. It was a bit. I think it was a bit more difficult when you were a single parent, because obviously money was tight. So, you could buy what you could really to keep us kind of going.
And I was working full time as well, which wasn't easy.
Yeah. I must admit, as a child, my appetite for food was very good. I mean, you'll agree with that. I mean, I loved my food, didn't I?
I think we all did.
You know, unfortunately, I did gain weight as I kind of got older, and I was a bit of a chunky child, but that was my doing, because I just loved eating food, and I think it was a bit of a comfort for me as well. You know, you tried your best to kind of control what I did eat, and the amounts of it, but I am going to confess and say that there were times where I did secretly eat, because
really?
I would, well, I think a lot of children do anyway, sort of sneakily go in the chocolate box or the biscuit box or whatever, sneak a few bits or packs of crisps when you weren't there or looking, take them to the bedroom and sort of secretly eat them. So but then being younger, you don't have any idea of what nutrition is.
No,
you just
absolutely not. You trust your parents, don't you?
You trust your parents, and I do think it's a lot to do with the parents.
Of what they buy for you to eat, you think, well, it's okay for me to eat that, even if mum and dad didn't know. I can have it because it's there to have.
Yeah.
And you don't think about, is it good for me or isn't it? Because you don't, do you?
Not
as a child.
Not
anyway.
as a child. No, you're not as well. You're not really health conscious when you're a child, because it's all to do with kind of more so the pleasure side of it. I feel.
Yeah.
It's the whole thing of I'm having something nice to do. It makes me happy and stuff like that. I was going to say something and I sort of forgot. So I got a bit of a mind block there. Because whenever I get talking, I think of what I'm going to say too far ahead and then I forget.
I'm the same, Michael.
Talking
I
about
do exactly the same. Sorry.
No, that's all right. Talking about sort of control, but it's not about control. What I'm going to say next is basically you would let us know what food wasn't good for us. So you would, almost kind of you did let us have the bad stuff. Yes, because I think as parents, especially back then, it's that whole thing. You don't want your child to kind of miss out. You want them to try different things. And again, it was. I think there wasn't so much education on nutrition back then. It was. Again, it's this whole excitement, all these new products coming out, and we just got to try them, and we don't know what's in them, but I'm sure it'll be fine. But you used to say to us, if we wanted more of more chocolate biscuits or more crisps or whatever, you would say, no, you've had enough now.
Yeah.
Because too much isn't good for you. And we were fine with that. We were like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
And we did grow up to know that kind of food was bad.
Yeah. But also in them days, you didn't have the internet to Google the bad food or find out about nutrition, where you just go on YouTube and you can see all the videos about nutritional foods and all the different diets that you can have and do. You just went by instinct in the 80s, basically, because you didn't have a mobile phone, you didn't have YouTube, it all didn't exist. It feels like it was a lifetime ago. The 80s is not that long ago, but it feels like a lifetime ago. 40 years.
I know, it's quite. It is. I mean, really, yeah, it's quite a while back, but it does feel like it's probably for you yesterday. I guess you had the library. You could go to the library, but I mean, I don't think anyone kind of really went out their way to go to the library to look
I wasn't really a bookworm anyway.
Nutrition. So, it was back then. They relied on kind of your doctor, who there is a lot of doctors. Don't come for me on this, but there are a lot of doctors that don't know a lot about nutrition because they don't study it in depth.
No, exactly.
So they'll give you kind of the basics, which back then was the kind of typical kind of food pyramid, which we still go by today.
Yeah, we do.
I personally, I don't really agree with it the way it is, because I just think because things change so much. When was the food pyramid thought of? I mean, a long time ago. I feel at the end of the day, I mean, you got to do what you think is best for your own health. So whatever you want to do food-wise, you do that, because at the end of the day, it's your responsibility. Your responsibility for your body.
Your body and what you put in
this.
Exactly, but not a lot of people...
You can't blame anything or anybody.
No, but a lot of people don't know that. That all the food that is offered to them basically on a plate in the shops, they don't know that it's no good to them. They don't know it's not nutritional, because and half the parents don't even know how to cook these days because of the convenient food that is there that they can just shove in the oven or shove in the microwave, and they think, oh well, that sounds good, it's got potato in it, it's got carrots in it, it's got meat in it,
and it's food,
and
it's just food,
it's cottage pie, it must be good for you, but it's not, because of all the extras that they put in order for you to go for more.
Well, that's where the lack of education comes in.
Exactly.
And that's what kind of does annoy me quite a lot, especially today. There's not enough education on nutrition.
No, not at all.
I do think it's really important, and there's this kind of obesity crisis that's going on. People are getting bigger, and it is because people do not know how they should be eating. But at the same time, it's really difficult to eat healthily nowadays, because of the amount of products that are available, that are always being made and coming out new things that people want to try, because it is that whole thing of, I guess, fear of missing out.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna lie, I have that as well. Like, I did have that. At the minute, it's all good. We'll talk about that in a minute. It's the whole thing of fear of missing out. Something new comes out and I'm like, oh my God, I want to try that. I generally will try it, and it will be generally something really bad for you, because, I mean, come on. If there was a new species of apple come out, I would say 9 times out of 10, people are not going to go, oh, I want to try that new species or new variety. Species? Where does that come from? Variety of apple. I really want to try that new
many
apple.
Different ones.
But
anyway.
if something, came out that was kind of apple flavoured and processed, full of sugar, that person's going to go, oh my God, I need to try that apple thing that's come out.
Yeah.
Have you heard of it? Everyone's going crazy about it. Yes.
It's a bit like that Prime drink at the minute that I've been seeing a lot of on YouTube, that children eat, and it's in a bottle and it just says Prime down the side of it, and I'm like, that is it not an energy drink? So they call them energy, but it makes the children bounce off the ceilings and walls because of all the sugar that's in it.
As far as I know, it's a drink more for hydration. So I'm not quite sure what is in it. I think there has to be specific stuff in it for it to be called an energy drink. It's more so a hydration drink. But it's all the craze. It still is. I'm not gonna lie. I'd quite like to try it, see what the hype is about, and I will try it one day. I know I will.
I'll just let you.
The good thing about it, I think, as far as I know, is it's got no sugar in it. It's sugar free, but it will have sweetener in it, obviously, to give it.
Well, that's what I mean. You may not have sugar in it, but the sweetener's no good for you either. Come on, let's face it.
Yeah, well, there's an argument against sweetener, isn't there? People say it's fine for you, it's okay, and then others are saying no, it's really bad for you. And I think I always thought sweetener was fine for you. It's not going to kind of harm you. But I'm kind of changing my mind about it, because at the end of the day, it's a chemical.
Yeah.
And any chemical you put in your body is it can't be good for you.
No, exactly.
What
was that?
I still have
sweet. Friends said whatever's at the end of it has got sugar in it. I think there was 3 letters she used. Do you remember? One of our friends said that if the ingredients has something like ELO or ALO or something.
OSE, O's.
Yeah.
Fructose, glucose.
Yeah.
Maltose. No, is it maltose or malitol? One of them anyway.
But whatever they are, if they're in it, they're not good for you. It's all contains
I know what you mean.
Sugar, doesn't it?
Yeah, and there's
and E numbers. There's another thing, isn't it? Lots of E numbers, but I think they're trying to hide them more by calling them other things nowadays.
Yeah, they are.
She used to get loads of E this, E that, E everything, and now you hardly see that, but they're all worded differently, so they're basically still the same, just put in a different word or in a different manner, so that people fall for it.
Yeah, and that's what these companies do. They'll use different words so people don't understand what they are, like especially with the hidden sugars. The E numbers, I think E numbers have gotten a lot better nowadays. Back in the day, I mean, I do remember, looking on the back of a packet if I was interested in seeing loads of E numbers, but they've really kind of whittled that down now, which is good.
Well, I think they just exchanged it for a word. Instead of the E number, they exchanged it for a word, so it's even harder. But even then, with the E numbers, you still didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
You knew maybe 1 or 2, but not all of them. And there was loads of them on a product alone. So, yeah. But yeah, it's all money, isn't it?
It is. And I feel the main culprits. Sometimes words sound funny when you say them.
They do.
And then you pronounce them weird. Culprit. The main culprit is sugar.
Absolutely.
I mean, yeah, majority of us love sugar. I mean, I love sugar. I am a sugar addict, you know. When I'm eating it, I can't stop. I always have since being young. I mean, I think probably the first mouthful of sugar was me hooked. That's the main culprit, and it's literally in everything, and it's making us ill. It's, you know, it's, I don't think I can say the word, but you know what I mean. It's kind of making people leave the planet, if you know what I mean. You know,
but true, yeah,
go.
yeah.
Not in a good way, because of like ill health. Yeah, it's just in everything. It really is in everything. It's so shocking, like when you look at ingredients as to, you know, where sugar is, and sometimes you would think, oh, it probably isn't in that, but actually the way I think about like a lot of food now is I kind of expect it to be in that food product, especially if it's in a packet. So, you know, if I feel like looking at the back of a packet and wondering if there's sugar in it, I expect it, and then I go, oh yeah, there it is, there's sugar.
So what would be the best thing to do then in order to have a healthier lifestyle? I mean, you don't have to go for fresh vegetables. You can use frozen, which are just as good, sometimes even better, especially peas. Frozen peas are the best ones. They are definitely better than fresh, because from when they come off the farm to the shop onto your plate, it can take days, and all the vitamins are gone by then. No point. But if when they freeze them, it just goes straight from farm to freeze, and they keep the vitamins and nutritions in them.
They do say,
unless you overboil them, of course, and boil all the goodness away.
Some people do overboil vegetables. They do say that frozen vegetables can be better actually than fresh, because
I totally agree.
It is that whole thing of once the you know, the veg or the fruit's been cut, and then it's sitting, you know, on a shelf
unless
for a few
you put
days,
some seasoning on it and spiced it up with whatever, then it's not nutritional either, is it, really? You know, like Mexican different vegetables will have some sort of spice in there.
Well, I guess, I mean, when it comes to spice and herbs, I guess there's kind of some benefits from, you know, you get from spice and things like that. But just saying about the sort of, you know, the vegetables or fruits being cut, they lose their nutrition as a kind of, you know, they're sat. As for what is the best thing, I mean, who knows really what is the best thing? I mean, personally, I think the best way of eating is, one, to not have anything that's out of a packet, because then it's going to be processed and full of, you know, things that are not good for us. They say, and I have kind of heard that, I can't remember whether it was if there's more than one or two ingredients, I really can't remember. If there's more than one or two ingredients that it's not in a typical kitchen pantry or something, then it's processed. It's like highly processed, something along those lines anyway. So basically they're saying, you know, if it's coming kind of straight from, you know, like when you were young, back, you know, straight off the field onto your kind of plate.
I actually remember eating raw sweet corn.
Yeah,
straight from the field. Raw potatoes with the skin still on and not even washed, straight from the field, raw, eating it. Oh, I loved it.
Yeah, or
absolutely. Absolutely. Excuse me.
When it comes to kind of, you know, like meat products, you know, pretty much straight from barn to table, or like butcher, straight from the butcher to the table. I feel that's the best way.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I mean, really it is, if you think about it, it's only common sense, you know, because processing the food is really just, it's toxic to us. Talking about sort of, I guess, diet or way of eating, we'll touch on what we're doing at the minute. There'll be quite a few probably already know what we're doing, because we are quite health conscious, which is a good thing. I mean, I'm quite glad that I've been taught as much as I could from yourself, from Dad and rest of the family, because it does, you pass it down as to what you've learned, what you believe in and stuff like that. And I've had a good upbringing in you trying to educate us as much as possible. It did help, I guess, that when I was in high school, that I did what they called food technology for like my GCSEs, which I absolutely loved it, because I wanted to originally be a chef as a career, and then go into confectionery, sugar, of course. But when I think about my school days, we learned about nutrition, but it wasn't actually a lot, because we did a lot more of the practical stuff, actually more the making of the food and eating of the food. But we were taught, what was kind of, good for us, bad for us. That whole classic food pyramid thing. So yeah, there's, I suppose, me, I've got kind of grown up in a mixed sort of opinionated, mixed belief view side of food and that. So, which it's not a bad thing. I can't fault it in any way. But as I've gotten older, obviously, I kind of, because I'm so interested in it, and I have a bit of a passion for it, sort of trying to be as healthy as possible. I've learned a lot myself. Anyway, so what we're doing at the minute, we're doing the carnivore diet, which is basically animal products only. So it's animal products like obviously meat, eggs, butter, salt. Yeah, okay, that's not an animal product, but you need the salt because of like the way it is, to do with the chemistry of like the way you digest and kind of your organs and stuff like that, and the way that it sort of processes the food in your digestion. So we've got meat, we've got butter, we've got eggs, we've got
cream.
You can have a bit of dairy, so like sort of double cream. You can have a bit of milk if you want. Try and kind of keep that at a low. Some cheese.
No, I don't have milk.
But
black coffee.
It's primarily meat, fatty meat, so meat, and high fat from animals, saturated fat, which a lot of people frown upon. And there's going to be people go, what? You can't just eat that, live off it. Well,
you can.
Yeah, in my opinion,
you can.
I mean, you can really, if you think about it, because you go back to the the days of the cavemen and what they used to eat. That's kind of what they used to eat.
Exactly. It didn't have any processed
That's
foods.
what the carnivore diet is. It's that kind of ancestral eating, and it's really interesting, like what it can do for you. I'm loving it. I'm really enjoying it, and I love the simplicity of it. I love it how it makes me feel. I've been doing it for I've been doing it for 7 weeks now. I did do it before my mum and I went to Turkey. I did it for actually 7 weeks then, and then I kind of broke it with eating normal, like lots of carbs and stuff. But it was a good experiment because it was good to see how that would make me feel, and then I felt rubbish basically.
It's been 7 weeks since we've been back already.
Yeah, so I went pretty much straight back on it, and it's been 7 weeks already today actually since I've started sort of I started the carnivore again, but I found it a lot easier this time because I knew what I was doing. I know what to expect, and I'm just really enjoying it, and I'm wanting to do it for quite a long period, because they do recommend that if you are going to do something like carnivore, that you should do it for a real good few months before you can sort of really then say what it's doing for you, how it's making you feel. But there's so many like benefits from what I've heard, read. They call it the healing diet because it's supposed to kind of heal you from the inside out. It can, it can help with like illnesses and autoimmune things. I'm not saying it definitely will, because of course I'm not a scientist or doctor or whatever, but this is personal experience and from what I've heard, I've read, because I've listened to a lot of podcasts.
Well, one massive change I've noticed in me is I have so much more energy. It's unreal. It's just gone through the roof. I mean, I'm getting on now. But yeah, I feel like I'm 20 years younger than what I actually am because of the energy I've got. I mean, I'm not 100% because I've been really naughty, especially just leaving my current job and getting loads of chocolates. So I've been a bit naughty.
Well, this is the thing, isn't it? You get times like that where I think things can kind of almost get in the way a little bit. But I did say to you, I was like, well, just enjoy the chocolate, I guess, because I mean they were gifted to you. You don't have to eat them, but I know that you're going to want to kind of eat some of it. So it's like just have it and then just get kind of back on.
I mean, I'm not going to eat all at once. No. I'm going to spread it out a bit, but it also doesn't make me ill having chocolates in between my carnivore way of eating.
No, I mean it's just obviously
some people it does make them ill. Can do. But definitely. It doesn't seem to be doing me. But then again, I don't go overboard on it. But yeah, carnivore food is so much quicker, I find, to cook, to prepare, because you just literally throw it in the oven and eat it. Loads of salt on.
It is literally just out of I know that they put meat in packets, but it's obviously just the meat. Straight out packet onto a baking tray or whatever,
and
in
the
oven,
fat
air
on
fryer,
it, the better, because it fills you up, doesn't it? The fat fills you up so much that you don't need to eat or snack in between.
No.
And what I do usually is once I've had I don't eat usually all day anyway, but then I normally go for night time when I come home, have my tea. I want more because I've just fed myself, so my body's saying, no, come on, keep going. But if you wait a while, then it sort of subsides. But I also find that when I finished eating and I'm really strict with myself, I'll just go and clean my teeth and then I won't touch any food again after that, because if I did, it means I have to clean my teeth again, and I'm not doing that, so I'd rather not have the food. And then I'm good to go. But when I'm naughty, I eat my dinner and then I shove my face with chocolates, and then I'm like, oh God, messed it up again. I keep bouncing on and off the wagon. Feel like a bouncing ball. Boing, boing,
but again,
boing.
It's easy to do that because of things that are available and what we can just access now easily. But that's another good thing about carnivore is it can stop you craving sort of the sugar and the carbohydrates.
Absolutely.
And there's been a lot of people that are doing it or have done it and said that it can almost, I guess, kind of reverse aging. It can kind of make you feel a lot younger and make you look a lot younger as well. Because of course it's pure food you're putting into your system. You're not kind of almost torturing your system with like chemical, which can take a toll on the way our bodies process it and stuff. So yeah, I do believe in that.
Well, because the eye eats as well, when you go into a shop and you see your chicken wings, for instance, and you see your Kievs in the breadcrumbs next to each other, say, and because your eye's eating, your eye automatically go to the Kievs because they're prepared for you. There is loads of nice stuff in there, big fat butter with garlic, and breadcrumbs makes chicken nice and crunchy, but so does chicken wings, makes it nice and crunchy, the skin of it anyway.
Well, talking about the eyes, the way you kind of you know, how you choose what you want to kind of eat, that is talking more about kind of, you know, your desire, not so much craving. It's desire. It's not really sort of, you know, are you hungry for the Kiev?
Not really.
Or are you hungry for, you know, the roasted chicken? Well, yeah, you are going to be hungry for both of them. But what would you kind of prefer to have generally? You know, just speaking in general, you're probably going to want to go for the Kiev because
I was just going
because
to say.
it's got the breaded outside, which is carbohydrate, which, you know, again can be quite addictive. It's hard to, I guess it's kind of hard to explain because not everybody is going to be like that, but I think it just boils down to kind of desire, you know, and that whole thing of, like you said, it's a little packet, you know, with some breadcrumbs around it. It's got the butter in the middle, you know, so the butter, the garlicky butter, and and you know, there's something a bit more to it in that respect than just the roast chicken. You know, there's going to be people that would go for the roast chicken because they would prefer that.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people like a roast type.
If it was already
dinner.
Roasted, and that looks nice as well, and the chicken is raw next to it, say for instance, I know it wouldn't be because it wouldn't be allowed, but if you put the two next to each other, people most likely go for the roasted chicken because it just looks so appetizing.
Yeah.
And inviting, whereas the naked chicken would have to be cooked first anyway. I have a problem with carbohydrates. I know that carbohydrates are no good for me because that's what makes me put on weight, and carbohydrates are in almost everything.
Yeah, and that's another, you know, issue and problem with the way it is today. Most people's diets are too high in carbohydrate, and that's where, you know, people struggle with their weight because you're not burning enough of it off. Get that out. So in turn it stores as fat because carbohydrates will turn into sugar, and the sugar is what you use primarily for energy. But then if you don't use enough of that sugar for energy, then it gets stored as fat. And yeah, that is the way it is nowadays. Too many high carb foods, which again gets us quite hooked because again it's that, you know, whole kind of getting the pleasure from carbohydrates. A lot of people will admit that they're addicted to carbs. I'd say that if I was eating carbohydrates, I wouldn't say I'm addicted to carbohydrates as such. I'm not gonna lie, I do like carbohydrates, but I think for me it's more the sugar. That's what I'm kind of more addicted to. But again, you have too much sugar, you know, and your body can't kind of cope with it or burn it off enough, it gets stored as fat.
Yeah.
And that's where the weight comes on.
And I know some of you will probably say, well, why don't you go to the gym? Well, personally, I absolutely hate the gym. I think it's boring. You won't find me in there, so...
There's that saying, you can't outrun a bad diet, and it's very, very true.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's this whole argument thing again, which I've heard a lot about, you know, is exercise good for us? Does it help with weight loss? A lot of people are saying it doesn't help with weight loss, but we do need to kind of move because we're designed to move and not be sedentary all the time. But again, it's basically movement. It's not so much intensive exercise we have to do. Just to keep moving is more important.
I'm on my feet all day anyway with work.
So you're kind of moving around, which is good because, again, like you think back in the day, and it, you know, it makes sense again if anyone's interested, you know, research into what it was like back in the day of, like, you know, especially when it was the cavemen days. I read that they didn't prioritize exercise, but they moved their bodies, and it was only when they needed to move their bodies, when it was more so for hunting food, or again if they were threatened by something that they had to run away from, because again it was all about survival. So there would have been short bursts of exercise, in movement, as in like sprinting or whatever. And that's, they're saying that that's actually the best form of exercise, is to do kind of, gentleish exercise, but with kind of that sprinting type exercise. We don't really know what is right and what is wrong. We're just going to go, we go with what we believe is right for us at the end of the day. I think we've covered most things, so I think it's probably best to wrap it up, because, I could talk about it all day, but obviously I don't want the video to be like too long, though people get kind of bored, although I know some people would be quite happy to just listen to us, which is also great. But, each to their own and all that. You got anything else to kind of add, or?
Yeah, I also,
there is more to talk about, but I think we've covered the main things.
I also think the reason why I'm slower in losing weight than like you, because I've read that men lose weight a lot quicker than women. Going through the change makes you lose weight less quickly as well. Age, I'm a lot older than you, obviously, because I'm your mum. That all contributes to my trying to lose weight. It's not happening as fast as I'd like it to do, but I'm going to keep going. I do enjoy carnivore food. I mean, I will have my naughty days. Nobody's going to take that away from me. I live right next door to a chippy, and I don't go in there. Even though some weeks I'm like coming home from work thinking, I could just eat fish and chips. Nope, I don't do it.
Good, that's good.
I don't do it.
Yeah, because I mean, you don't really need to have it.
No, exactly.
I mean, age can be a factor with like losing weight. It can be more difficult, but age also is no excuse to, not move yourself or eat properly.
Of course not.
They recommend that as you kind of do get older, that you eat more protein more than anything, because it you need to keep as much of your muscle as you can.
Which is what I try and do, because I do like my protein.
Because it's the muscle that keeps you strong. I mean, a lot of people think it's to do with your joints. No, it's not. It's not your joints that keep you strong. It's your muscles, because your muscles kind of support your joints. So if you keep them really strong and healthy, then you're going to be healthy, be able to move better and stuff.
Because I'm on my feet all day anyway. My legs are pretty strong because they're moving all the time, whereas I'm not lifting anything heavy all the time. My muscles are disintegrating in my arms basically, and I sometimes have problems carrying things.
Well, that's where again, like, they recommend that as you kind of get older, that you should eat plenty of protein to keep yourself kind of strong.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway,
okay.
So we're going to wrap it up because it will be too long otherwise. Anyone that has their views or their opinions or their beliefs, or whatever you think about just the modern diet, the way it is nowadays, put in the comments below, because it's really interesting to read.
Oh yes, it is. And be kind. Come on, let's be kind.
Yeah, be kind. But then everyone has their own opinions.
Yeah.
So
and you can have a rant as well if you want to. You can
put
just be kind.
Kind of put whatever you want to put, because like we all believe in different things and we've all been taught different things. So yeah, it'll be interesting to read. Thanks so much for watching. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel because it's absolutely free. We've got plenty more ideas for videos to come. Thanks to any of the new subscribers, and also thanks for all of the lovely comments we've been having. Thanks again for watching, and we'll be back again soon with another video.
Yeah.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.